Canal Winchester was just Winchester until the canal came through, the Ohio and Erie Canal in the 1830s. It's been known as Canal Winchester since, which suggests something of the transportation history of this community. The Canal Winchester Area Historical Society has done a lot to help preserve part of that story, transportation, but also local industry as well, and local education. So we're going to have a visit today, and I think you'll find some really interesting architecture and interesting industrial and transportation history. Well, hello.
Hi, Jeff.
How are you? Good to see you.
Welcome to the Canal Winchester Historical Society.
Well, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. So I understand we're going to see a very interesting building today.
We are, in fact. It was a grain elevator. It was built by Judge John Cheney and his son O.P. Cheney in the 1870s. In 1850, Judge John Cheney and his son O.P. founded the Empire Mill. That was actually a mile away from here at about the 40 lock of the canal, out by Groveport and Gender Road. That burned, and then in the late 1870s, O.P. Cheney built this elevator.
Well, that makes sense because by then the railroad had come through town and really had pretty much supplanted the canal.
It absolutely did, and it ran right here, as you can see the track here.
Well, I'd love to see the inside of the mill. Is that something that's possible?
Well, I'm not dressed for that, at least not to go to the top, but I'll send you up and then I'll meet you inside.
That sounds great.
Awesome.
I'll head right away. Thanks. It's a bit of a climb. I guess that's why they call it an elevator, but I don't think it has one. One more flight. Well, I'm almost there. Boy, just getting to work here is a challenge. Hello, Ralph.
Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the head house.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
It is the head house. There's the roof.
Yes, it
I
is.
can't go any further.
Yeah.
So what happens up here?
As the grain would come up from the basement, it would come up on the bins and would dump it into kind of a holding area here. And then the worker would take this pipe and would move it from bin to bin. There were about 4 bins that were below us.
Oh, I see.
Move the grain into each one of the bins, depending upon what it is.
So the pipe was flexible. You could move
Yes,
it to, I see
right.
there are holes in the floor that are covered now for safety, but that's where we go down into the various other bins for the different kinds of grain.
And all of this grain, as it was coming up or was being filtered from place to place, is all done by gravity. So there was no other mechanical movement other than moving it from one bin to the other. And they would haul roughly about 3,000 pounds of grain a day up here.
Okay, so that's a ton and a half.
Yes, it is. Yeah, so it's quite a bit.
Well, speaking of mechanical, there are wonderful gears and chains and things.
Yes.
These are all related to what, moving the buckets that bring the grain up.
Exactly.
That's primarily what they serve
Right.
as, because you
Right.
can see these giant bearings and
Right.
big gears and chains and things.
Yeah. Initially it was done by steam, and then later on when electricity came in, they changed to electricity.
Well, it's so fortunate that so much of this is intact,
Yes.
including the names of the companies that supplied some of the
Yes.
machinery. I think
Yes.
that's just wonderful.
Yeah, Sydney, Ohio, I guess, is one of the manufacturers of some of the gears and equipment that's up here.
Well, I'd be happy to see the next level down, see what happens there if you want to lead the way.
Why don't we walk on down this way?
All right. So we're at the next level down. What happens down at this level?
And the grains came in. It could be corn, it could be wheat, it could be rye. Would drop down into this auger that's right here. And then from the auger, it would then be distributed into each one of these legs, which would then take it down into a bin below us. All of this is done by gravity, so as it's moving through, it would just drop into the bin that happened to be open. Once it went into the bin, it would then go out to either a rail car or a canal at one time when they had the canals coming through, or even, I guess, wagons that would then carry the grain to wherever they wanted it, to go.
This is sort of the intermediate process before final delivery.
Exactly, yeah. So this is kind of like the storage place.
And just to be clear, this mill didn't grind grain into flour of any kind. This was simply bringing in grain, sorting it, selling it to people who were going to use it at a flouring mill, something
Yes.
like that.
Yeah, sorting and storing it until someone purchased it for milling or whatever they wanted to do with it.
This would serve a fairly large area, I assume, in terms of a farming area.
Yes, I think well, once the railroads came through, it would go as far as New York. So I mean, it would take it quite a distance out of the area. So the economy then for the farmers expanded quite a bit. Not just in and around the area or even in central Ohio, was pretty much states surrounding us. That was the process, and I think Bruin is waiting for you downstairs.
Well, thanks so much. I've learned a lot, and I really appreciate it.
Glad to have you, Jeff.
Bye.
Bye now.
Well, hello again, Bruna.
I'm glad you're back. How was upstairs?
It's quite a tour. It's a wonderful place with those stairs. Oh, my.
Well, I'm glad you're back, and you're lucky to be up there because not everybody's allowed to go up there.
Well, I can see why it might be a little bit hazardous. So we're here at grade level, and what happened in this room?
This was probably the busiest room in the grain elevator. The farmer would bring his wagon out right outside of this space. He would leave the load of his grain and it would be weighed, and then it would be distributed upstairs where you were to the different bins, then either go by rail or be individually bagged for sale.
I could see there are other spaces in this level.
There are many more spaces. Things like this wagon right now are just being stored here. This would not have been in here originally.
In a working space like this. And I noticed these wonderful big wood columns, and some of them are trimmed on the edge, a chamfer they call it, to give it a little elegant kind of look. There's real craftsmanship here. The way this is put together, it's not a fancy house. It's a mill, an elevator, but it's really beautifully done. And, oh wait, there's a hole in the floor here. What's this?
This hole in the floor actually housed a giant auger type piece of equipment. Think of an enormous corkscrew that ran the whole length of the building and would push the grain all the way through the building back into the next area for storage.
Is that still there?
That building unfortunately burned down in 1978. And one of our trustees to the Historical Society today was actually the newly appointed fire chief for Madison Township. But fortunately, his team did a fantastic job, and there was a cinder block wall that prevented the fire from passing from that building.
Well, I'm so glad the fire got stopped and this building was saved. It's really important. Ohio is an agricultural state still, and knowing some of the history of that is really important. But I know there's a future here too, so what do you have
We're
planned?
excited about the future here. Come with me, I'll show you.
Okay.
This is the best way to show you what we're going to do. This is an image of what we're hoping to achieve here in the next 4 or 5 years. Adding a new entrance into the facility and a center here that might house brides on the day of a wedding. It will have public restrooms that will be accessible for all outdoor events, even while the rest of the facility is closed up. A patio on the back side of it as well, up against the railroad tracks. This is the interior. This is the comfort center we just talked about. Perhaps in a wedding, this might be a chapel for this ceremony. This might be where the reception is held. Or it might be good for a music concert or lecture, any kind of educational purpose as well.
Well, that's a great plan. You're preserving the historic building, but giving it a new life with these different facilities. It just makes so much sense.
Well, it's a passion of the Historical Society to first of all preserve the building, but secondly give it back to the community because it belongs to them so they can enjoy it.
That really is true. Well, thank you very much for a great tour.
Thank you so much. I hope you come back when it's finished.
Looking forward to it.